It's almost about time to say goodbye to a town we've loved for so long, as Riverdale's finally coming to an end in 2023. It's a real shame for those hardcore fans out there, but the show had to come to an end at some point, right? The greatest thing about all this is that the show is getting a real and true ending. We've waited so many years for an actual ending to the show, and it's amazing it's finally getting it. Despite the series having various ups and downs, and some seriously weird moments with werewolves and aliens, Riverdale deserves a well-wrapped-up ending to cap off the long series run. Riverdale's about to end with its 7th season, but there are still so many questions that need to be answered before we leave the small town for good. Before they finish off the last Pop's milkshake, the Riverdale crew have so many messes to clean up and finish off for good. The show teases so many will they won't they relationships over the many years of it being on the air, not to mention all the killer secrets and dead or alive mysteries. There's truly so much going on in Riverdale, even going into the final season. So here are some of the things that we hope they wrap up before it's all over. From the time-altering season finale twist of season 6, who's going to end up with whom? Let's get into it.
Just come to the shore and we'll figure this out together, okay?
By now, basically everyone who watched Riverdale knows that the show will never shy away from going big. I mean, remember all the weird alien stuff going on? Organ harvesting cults, seizure-causing water, and yeah, who could forget all the universe jumping? There's been so much going on in Riverdale, and we already know that the series knows when to go big and when to stop. Honestly though, most of it probably won't be fully explained by the end of the show. So I guess we'll just have to accept the fact that Cheryl using her power of the Phoenix to destroy the comet was just a natural result of Riverdale. And who could forget, at the end of the season, that attack transported all of Riverdale and its inhabitants back to 1955 for some reason. The final season of Riverdale is going to be set in the past, with the characters resembling their comic book counterparts much more than they already did. It's actually a really cool thing, but we really hope it gets explained. Otherwise, things are going to be weird. If they don't get explained, sure, why not?
If a kid at Riverdale killed Jason, it's not going to be a jock, right? Now, let's be honest. Isn't it always some spooky, scrawny, pathetic internet troll too busy writing his manifestos to get laid?
I guess we'll just accept it, right? It's Riverdale after all. But there are still so many other mysteries that are pivotal to the show's core. So Riverdale can't simply ignore them and end off without finally answering them. When it comes to a series like this that has no real boundaries, its core story and design need to be perfect. Everything at the core of the show needs to be explained by the end of it. We need to fully understand what really went on before everything ends. That's unless the writers want to end everything on a cliffhanger, but that might be a little weird. One of the biggest things that we need to see wrapped up is, of course, the relationships in the series. Despite the show turning into Scooby-Doo at this point, the relationships are what really made the show as popular as it is. Season 1 had so many different romantic groups that we had no idea where they were really going. As the show goes on, we've seen many pairings, from Bughead to Jabitha, but which ones are actually going to be the endgame for the fans? Of course, many people will ship the different characters, but who's actually going to end up together when the credits roll for the last time? Season 6 ended up putting a lot of work into upping the tension between the Betty, Jughead, and Archie love triangle. That triangle's been going on for years now.
If we don't separate these universes, and soon, everyone's going to die. In both of them. And you don't know that Fred can come back. Not everyone does.
Even if there's a 0.0001% chance that he will, I want to be here, waiting for him.
With each different part breaking up amicably and getting back together a few times. As it stands right now, Betty and Archie clearly have the upper hand, as those two have been reconnected for quite a long time now. Ever since the time jump in Riverdale, these two have been the clear focus, as Jughead's been on the sidelines dating other people. It was a huge plot point that these two went together, as they never really got the shine before the time jump. But with everything that happened at the end of season 6, and the 1955 reset effectively nullifying everything, there's still a solid shot of Jughead and Betty getting back together. We don't really know what's going to be happening in terms of their memories just yet, But more than likely, the entire group will have forgotten what happened. It'll be like they grew up in 1955 in the first place, rather than just being sent back there by Cheryl. This means that natural relationships will most likely grow, and this trio might not even be together at all. But if you're asking us, and other hardcore Riverdale fans, Jughead and Betty will most likely get back together by the end of it. They really might just be the endgame couple, even if Tabitha is slightly involved. But who really cares about her, right? Bughead is the endgame for sure.
What is it? I mean, besides everything. What?
Speaking of moving timelines and what's going to happen when the core group shows up next season, will they ever return to the original timeline? I mean, we spent 6 full seasons in the original Riverdale universe, with so many relationships and characters being developed. It'd be a shame for all that to just be completely thrown out of play even when the show ends. We don't really know when the writers were told that Riverdale would be coming to an end, so the plot point of the end of season 6 might actually have screwed them over. But if they did know that Riverdale was coming to an end before writing this plot, then we'd expect everything to go back to normal by the end of it. This retro twist could only last a few episodes, or it could be the new normal. We don't really know just yet. God, it would be awful to stay in the retro timeline until the show ends, as basically nothing will be wrapped up, right? All the people we stan and all the groups we've developed with, we just want to see them have a good life at the end of the day, right? If Riverdale does end up sticking with this 1955 timeline all the way to the end, we know people are going to be disappointed. But what about all the supernatural stuff? I mean, Riverdale fully embraced it over the last few years, right? For the longest time, Riverdale had only flirted with the idea of the supernatural in the universe. We never really expected to see and fully implement all the magic and monsters that the last few seasons had done. The Sabrina crossover was more than enough many years ago. But ever since Edgar Never Ever was introduced, things are completely changed for Riverdale. From the gifted superpowered abilities that the main crew got, to Cheryl tapping into her family's bloodline and witchcraft, so much crazy stuff has gone on. But is all that done for now? I mean, the ending of season 6 sort of wrapped up the storyline, right? But could it appear in this 1955 version? It'd be quite cool to see, as this final season is definitely going to be more influenced by the comic books. If you don't know, the comic books had many supernatural crossovers over the years, from Scooby-Doo to Alien. Jughead was even a zombie at one point. Yeah, I know, that's weird. Riverdale could be ending off without teetering in the supernatural and going back to its roots. But honestly, we might miss it if they do this. What do you think? Let us know down below. We hope you enjoyed the video.